Africa, we cry for peace. Africa.
And sports of the United Republic of Tanzania. The head of UNESCO in Tanzania is Tirso de Santos, representing the director of UNESCO, East African region, Secretary General, the East African Community, Madame Nenege, expert African languages representing the coordinator of CENTO, Center for Historical Studies and Oral Tradition of the African Union, based in Niamey, Niger. Academicians of ACALAN, Professor Baye Mekonnen and Professor Batibo, I think is on the way coming. Heads of national structures of ACALAN in the member states of the African Union, honorable participants, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me, first of all, to pay tribute to this beautiful country, Tanzania. The term Dar es Salaam in my geography lessons always reminded me of the Arabic greeting, Assalamu alaikum, meaning peace be on you, peace be upon you. Yes, it is. It is literally this meaning, this Arabic term that stands for House of Peace, Dar es Salaam. This great city, formerly known as Zizima, or the healthy town in Kiswahili, that Sultan Majid bin Said of Zanzibar began building near Zizima in 1865 and named it Dar es Salaam. It is Tanzania's largest city. And until 1974, the capital of Tanzania, this country of Mwalimu Nyerere, Tanzania, country of hospitality, Tanzania, a country of Kiswahili, Tanzania, country of Africa and Africans, Tanzania, country of African liberation, Tanzania, country of African integration and development, and therefore Tanzania, country of the African Renaissance. And Dar es Salaam, that retained and fulfilled its attributes of peace and stability and progress and harmony. I am particularly pleased to speak here this morning in Dar es Salaam, in this United Republic of Tanzania, land of one of the most memorable Pan-Africanists. At this point, we will all reflect on Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, Baba wa Taifa, the father of the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the vision of the African Union is to build an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa, driven by its own citizens and representing a dynamic force in the global area. This vision of a new forward forward-looking, dynamic and integrated Africa will be fully realized through relentless struggle on several fronts and as a long-term endeavor. The African Union has now shifted focus from supporting liberation movements in the African territories still under colonization at the time of its inception and apartheid, as envisaged by the OAU in 1963 and the Constitutive Act of the African Union now, to an organization spearheading Africa's development and integration. The mission of the African Union through the African Union Commission is to become an efficient and value-adding institution driving the African integration and development process in close collaboration with African Union member states, the regional economic communities, and the African citizens. The values to guide and govern the functioning and operation of the Commission are respect for diversity and teamwork, think Africa above all, transparency and accountability, integrity and impartiality, efficiency and professionalism, and information and knowledge sharing. Ladies and gentlemen, it is all about going faster on the path of integration and development. It is also a change of perspective with the definition of common policies in priority areas: defense, peace and continental security, integration of African economies, free movement of people, goods, capital, food security, the fight against poverty, development, trade, environment, and the fight against diseases. Reflecting on the cross-cutting nature of languages and the richness and diversity of African languages, their role in information and knowledge sharing, and indeed all the other values guiding and governing the African endeavor cannot be overemphasized. We will never stop repeating that no country in this entire world, no people, no nation can develop effectively, sustainably, whilst using languages and cultures and the values of other people to the detriment of its own languages and values and cultures, whether consciously or unconsciously. For this, it is imperative to create the conditions for African languages that are understood and spoken by the vast majority of the African people, it's about 60%, to become truly operational working languages as one of the foundations of the endogenous development of a project of Africa. Some people might be asking this logic question, but why is he not speaking an African language at this juncture? Well, very good question. And the answer lies right here in this consultative meeting. On regional basis, ACALAN, as the African Union specialized institution entrusted with the mandate and task of developing and promoting African languages, will develop and promote vehicular cross-border languages as languages of wider communication in their respective regions and in the entire Africa. The African Union has not hesitated to make Kiswahili an official language, which, however, is yet to become a working language of the Pan-African organization. Kiswahili is one of the languages that are the pride of the African continent in many areas, in many domains. This is the place for me to commend the efforts of the East African community that have made Kiswahili also an official language, and in some member countries, a national language. At present, Kiswahili plays an important role as lingua franca in much of sub-Saharan Africa, which is why ACALAN is holding this meeting in Dar es Salaam today to identify ways and means of effectively promoting Kiswahili as a language of wider communication in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, we could all imagine how big the challenges in front of us are, but I remain convinced that with the support and commitment of all of us here today, and the necessary policy support, we will be able to surmount these challenges. And I do not doubt for a moment that the challenges will be surmounted thanks to the new African deed, the new African consciousness in the perspective of the African Renaissance. Before concluding, ladies and gentlemen, I would, on behalf of all my colleagues at the Secretariat of the African Academy of Languages and all the organs and the working structures of ACALAN, like to thank the government of the United Republic of Tanzania, especially the Honorable Minister of Information, Culture and Sport, for the multifaceted support given to ACALAN in the organization of this meeting and indeed in all our activities. I thank the members of the Assembly of Academicians of ACALAN here representing the entire Assembly who are always around us when we have crucial meetings. Professor Herman Batibo on the way coming, and Professor Baye Mekone. Dr. Ojo, my colleague, used to call them the big pillars, without whom or which the port would not exist. And to the heads of the national language structures, working structures of ACALAN, and the members of the ACALAN Kiswahili and the EAC Kiswahili commissions, and indeed independent experts for their unfailing support and availability. To these expressions of gratitude, I associate Madame First Lady of the United Republic of Tanzania, who is to serve as ambassador of Kiswahili for the African Academy of Languages in the whole region. I thank Professor Sozinho Francisco Martinez, immediate past Executive Secretary of the African Academy of Languages, who initiated this very project and whose availability and support for ACALAN have not faded in spite of his departure from the Secretariat. He has not even left. Physically, he's not there, but he's still there with us. Thank you, Prof. I will not conclude without sincerely thanking Professor Pacific Malongo for the remarkable advices he has been giving the Secretariat in the concept of the renewal of this project. I am sure that if Kiswahili is out there, a lady standing, Professor Malongo would grab her and marry her. Thank you, Prof, for your support. Finally, I extend my sincere gratitude to the East African community and the East African Community Kiswahili Commission, and of course UNESCO, that have manifested remarkable support to this project, to the activities of ACALAN as privileged partners of ACALAN. Long live African languages for a peaceful, prosperous, and integrated Africa. Asante sana.